With US-China tensions dominating the headlines, it's easy to feel like we're on the edge. But this isn't the first time. Join us as we look back at the 5 most chilling near misses of history. Those moments when a single mistake could have triggered World War III and humanity stood on the brink of nuclear war. Understanding these events isn't just a history lesson. It's a critical guide for the dangerous times we live in. Kicking off our list at number 5, we have the Korean War, often called the Forgotten War because it lacked a clear victory and ended in a stalemate. When North Korea invaded the South in 1950, the United States, under the UN flag, intervened. But as UN forces, led by the formidable General Douglas MacArthur, pushed further north, they approached the Yalu River, the border with China. China, seeing this as a direct threat, launched a massive counteroffensive. The real danger came when MacArthur, frustrated by the stalemate and Chinese intervention, openly advocated for expanding the war into China, even suggesting the use of nuclear weapons. President Truman, horrified by the prospect of a nuclear conflict with China and potentially the Soviet Union, famously fired MacArthur to prevent precisely that escalation. It was a stark reminder of how quickly regional conflicts could spiral into global catastrophes. Next up, at number 4, we head to the divided city of Berlin in 1961. The Cold War was in full swing, and Berlin was a pressure cooker. With East Germans fleeing to the West in droves, the Soviet Union, under Nikita Khrushchev, demanded that the Western powers leave Berlin, ultimately building the infamous Berlin Wall to stop the exodus. For days, American and Soviet tanks faced off at Checkpoint Charlie, gun barrels just meters apart. Any miscalculation, any accidental shot fired, could have triggered an immediate and devastating military response from both sides. It was a tense, silent standoff that required immense diplomatic skill and nerves of steel to de-escalate, avoiding what could have been a full-blown conventional war, with the ever-present threat of nuclear escalation looming in the background. Our third near miss is perhaps the most famous, and certainly one of the most terrifying: the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. When U.S. spy planes discovered that the Soviet Union was secretly deploying nuclear missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles from American shores, the world held its breath. President John F. Kennedy imposed a naval blockade around Cuba, demanding the removal of the missiles. For 13 agonizing days, the two superpowers stood eye to eye, with nuclear annihilation a very real possibility. Soviet ships carrying more missiles were on their way, and the U.S. military was preparing for an invasion of Cuba. The Cuban Missile Crisis ended when the Soviet Union, in a secret deal, agreed to dismantle and remove its missile sites in Cuba in exchange for a U.S. pledge not to invade Cuba and the separate secret agreement to remove U.S. Jupiter missiles from Turkey. Moving to number 2, we have a less well-known but equally chilling incident: the Able Archer 83 exercise. In November 1983, NATO conducted a massive command post exercise called Able Archer 83. It simulated a conventional war escalating to nuclear conflict in Europe, using extremely realistic communication formats, including encrypted messages and the involvement of heads of state. The Soviet Union, already on high alert due to escalating Cold War rhetoric in recent events, genuinely believed Able Archer was a deceptive cover for a real first strike. They began preparing their nuclear forces for a counterattack, moving bomber aircraft to forward bases and loading warheads. We now know, thanks to declassified intelligence, that the world came terrifyingly close to nuclear war based on a catastrophic misinterpretation. It was only when Soviet intelligence concluded the exercise was indeed just an exercise that the immediate threat subsided. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps the channel a lot. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell to be notified every time we upload a new video, and if you know someone who might enjoy this, please share it with them. And at number 1, perhaps the most recent and least discussed incident that nearly plunged us into World War III, the Norwegian Rocket Incident of 1995. In January 1995, Norwegian and American scientists launched a research rocket from the Svalbard archipelago to study the aurora borealis. The rocket's trajectory, however, eerily resembled that of a Trident missile launched from a submarine heading straight for Moscow. Russian early warning radar detected the rocket and, assuming it was a nuclear attack, immediately alerted top military officials. For several tense minutes, Russian President Boris Yeltsin was presented with the nuclear briefcase and had to decide whether to launch a retaliatory strike. Thankfully, before a decision was made, the rocket's true nature was identified, and the crisis was averted. It's a sobering reminder that even after the Cold War, the hair-trigger nature of nuclear deterrence remains. So what do these 5 chilling moments tell us about the world we live in today, particularly with the escalating tensions between the United States and China? Just like during the Cold War, we're seeing a rise in strategic competition, a battle for influence, and conflicting ideologies. Flashpoints like Taiwan and the South China Sea are the modern equivalents of Berlin and Cuba, sensitive areas where a misstep could have devastating consequences. As global powers navigate a complex and interconnected world, the stakes are incredibly high. Avoiding World War III isn't just about military strength. It's about wisdom, restraint, and an unwavering commitment to peaceful resolution. Understanding history's near misses is our best defense against repeating them. What are your thoughts on these historical moments? Do you think the world is safer or more dangerous today? Let us know in the comments below.